All right, y'all, I'm back. We're still in the same spot. We need to hurry up and finish this game before it crashes again, because this is taking me out of my zone right now. All right, sorry, you guys, for the issues with this game. I don't know why it'd be crashing like that.
I don't understand reunions or nostalgia in general. People cling to the past like it was the best part of their lives. Do you know what most people spent most of the past doing? Waiting for the future to come so their miserable lives would improve. Really makes no sense to me. I don't live in the past. I look to the future. I am so ready to be in the future. The second my contract is up, I am out of here. I am retiring to someplace very far away with very few people, and I am never going to think about Las Vegas again.
I hear that.
Can't wait for that. Yeah, I want to see what the future holds, because I'm done here.
Damn. Okay, so she doesn't even want to be here. Oh wow. Okay, so I can't. I didn't even get to finish the conversations. All right, so she doesn't want to live here anymore. So actually choosing her as the successor probably won't be the best bet. All right, let's talk about your parents not being around finally, Mallory.
Oh, I've been an orphan almost my entire life. Yeah, my parents died in a fishing accident when I was really little.
Oh wow.
The only living relative I have is my Uncle Albert, but we don't really talk at all. He's been in and out of prison my whole life.
Oh my goodness. In and out of prison, you say?
My Uncle Albert? Oh, he goes back to prison all the time. He's actually serving a life sentence, but he keeps escaping.
Oh my
I
God.
don't know how he keeps getting out, but the guards catch him and put him right back in. Albert
Okay.
is from the dark side of my family. We didn't like to associate with them very much growing up.
Something tells me a good majority of your family is from the dark side, Mallory. Dark side of the family.
We were always a little bit ashamed to be related to Albert's side of the family, to be honest. I mean, I know that I'm not some great success or anything like that, but at least I'm trying to better myself. Albert's mom was a lawyer, and his dad was a member of Congress for over a decade. It's like they didn't even try to have honest jobs.
Oh, okay. Not honest jobs, I see. Understood, Mallory. Fish, fishing accident.
My parents used to take me fishing on the southern coast of Alabama. I don't think we were supposed to be fishing at the spot they found, but there was
Mm.
never anybody around to tell us to leave, so we did it anyway. It was really nice and almost like a real vacation. Anyway, we didn't have a real boat. We had just three of those floating pool chairs that we'd like paddle out and just sit there and fish. It was really relaxing. Anyway, one day my parents caught an undertow and the current pushed them out deep into the ocean. So luckily I managed to get to shore, but it took me a while to find anyone for help. The authorities searched and searched for them, but all they could find were their pool chairs,
Ooh.
empty. It was really bad, but I was placed into the foster care system.
You've had it bad, Mallory. Jesus.
I wasn't in the foster care system for very long. When I was 9, I was placed with a foster family, but unfortunately, my foster parents died the first night that I was with them.
The first
A
night?
burglar broke in and murdered them. My foster mom was
Jeez.
able to call the police, but by the time they arrived, they were already dead. And the police
Mallory.
couldn't find the burglar anywhere. The prosecutor on the case assumed that I had murdered my foster parents
Uh huh.
and even accused me of killing my birth parents. So he got the judge to
Shit.
sign off that I was going to be tried as an adult instead of a child, even though I was only 9.
Damn.
Luckily, they did find the real killer, and it
Okay.
turns out he was just really good at hiding, and he was in a crawl space under the house.
Oh
So
wow.
Unfortunately, due to this legal loophole that in Alabama I was now considered legally an adult, so I was out of the foster care system and I had to find a job. So I worked in a coal
Right now,
mine.
I'm asking,
It
did
wasn't
you?
the work I wanted to
Right.
be doing, but it paid something. And then when I was 18, I
No,
moved out
something
of
ain't right
Alabama.
about Mallory. Something is not right about this lady here. Moved out of Alabama?
I didn't have much money saved up, so I had to hop onto a train like they do in the movies. Only it wasn't exactly like how they do it in the movies because there were no big empty cars with those open sides that you could just hop right onto. The best I could find was a small platform that stuck out from the train a couple of inches. I was able to put my feet on that, and then there was a handle that I could cling to. I figured that I could just stay like that for an hour and then I'd be across state lines, but unfortunately, the train picked up a lot of speed and I was stuck clinging onto the train up until Detroit.
Clinging to the train up until you got to Detroit.
Well, I hadn't intended on going to Detroit, but since I was there, I decided to make the most out of it. I got a job as the mascot at a children's restaurant. It was kind of a cheap ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese. And I had a costume that wasn't so much a cute mouse as a scary rat. But
Hmm.
luckily, the kids didn't seem to mind too much. But I was only there for a little
Then the
bit
bite of
anyway.
86 happened
The
or some
first time I
shit.
got my paycheck, I went to the bank and I was still in my rat costume. And unfortunately, two bank robbers came in, also in
More
costume.
bank
So
robbers.
when the police
Okay.
showed up, they assumed that I was with them and arrested me along with them. I was able to sort things out at the police station and I got off, but my picture in costume was already in the newspaper. So my
Lord.
boss didn't like seeing his mascot on the front page of the newspaper for bank robbery, so I got fired.
Oh, Mallory. Ray, what up, bro? Welcome in. Welcome in. How you been?
Oh, I've done it all. I've delivered pizzas, I had an ice cream truck,
Oh,
I
yeah,
worked
we
in a
went
pet
over all
shop,
this
I
stuff
even worked on
before.
a cruise ship. I've had some truly wonderful jobs, but sadly nothing ever worked out.
All right.
I worked at a really fancy pizza place that had a big dining room and everything. It was great. Anyway, the owner, my boss, was trying to sell it, so the potential buyers were coming in to see it and to go over the books. The owner said that we had to look as busy as possible when they came in to make a good impression, so anytime there was extra space in any of the pizza ovens, we just started making cheese pizzas. I was given the cheese pizzas anytime I was making a delivery, and I was told that I needed to just throw them in the dumpster. But I felt really weird about doing that because the town had a lot of homeless people.
Disobeying the
So
rules.
instead, I decided to do a good deed and pass them out to them instead. After the potential buyer had looked through the restaurant, he was being driven back by my boss to his hotel room, and on the way, I guess they saw about 20 homeless people with our very distinct pizza boxes. I don't know what he thought, but he didn't end up buying the place after all, and I lost my job.
Lose every job. That's this is the one job loss I would give her props for.
I got a job at a pet shop, but I only worked there a few weeks before I got fired, unfortunately. Before I worked there, I really didn't know anything about animals, so I did learn a lot on the
Yeah,
job,
this one
thankfully.
she deserved to
Anyway,
be fired for.
my boss would have me open up, and then he'd come in a couple hours later, around noon. And one day, we got a hamster delivery, two hamsters, and my boss had left a note saying, put them in a fish tank. The thing is, my boss didn't specify it was supposed to be an empty
He
fish
didn't
tank,
specify.
so I put them in a fish tank that had fish and water in it. It also had a lid on the top. Anyway, the hamsters almost drowned, but thankfully we had this machine that was pumping air into the bottom of the tank, so the little guys were really smart and they took turns breathing out of the air hose. It was a dream of mine for a really long time to have my own ice cream truck. I love the
You
idea
shouldn't
of
have to
having my own
specify,
business,
Mallory.
being an
Exactly.
entrepreneur, and selling wonderful sweet treats to people over jolly music. Anyway, it took a really long time, but
Oh, and
eventually I did
this
buy
was a
my own
crazy
ice cream
story
truck.
too.
Well, it wasn't actually an ice cream
At
truck.
El
It was an El
Camino.
Camino, and it had 2 freezers full of ice cream in the back. So anytime I wanted to sell ice cream, I'd just have to park and get out and go around back. It was great, and I'd still be doing it if I hadn't lost my license. I wasn't just selling ice cream out of my El Camino, I was also living in it. The ice cream chests in the back were plugged into the cigarette lighter inverter, so the engine had to be running at all times so that the ice cream wouldn't melt. This made it really hard to sleep. Anyway, one night I had a few drinks and I was trying to sleep, and of course the engine was still running so that the ice cream wouldn't melt, and a policeman came over to see what was happening. I didn't know this, but you can actually get a DUI if you're drinking while your engine's on, even if you aren't moving, so I ended up being sent to prison.
Yeah, we was about to ask about prison, but we couldn't even get to that.
That was the most amazing job I've ever had. It was also the shortest. Unfortunately, the first time that we went out, we actually hit an iceberg and sank
Oh
like the
no!
Titanic.
Wow.
Some of the lifeboats got destroyed, but most people were able to get on one. The rest of us had to survive by climbing onto the
Y'all
iceberg.
really was a Titanic life. Okay. Prison?
I actually got really lucky with my prison sentence. I was sentenced to 3 months in prison, but they let me out after 2. Also, I was sent in right before Christmas, which was great because on
Which
Christmas
was
Day,
great.
they gave everybody a delicious cinnamon bun. It was the
Really?
best cinnamon bun I've ever had.
Really? A
I
prison
guess
cinnamon
sometimes
bun.
Lady Luck is on my side.
To be in prison for Christmas. Okay, Mallory. Looking on the bright side of things. I get it.
After the ship sank, there were over 80 of us stranded on the iceberg, and we had no way to call for help, no food, no water. So, out of desperation, we took off our clothes and we tried to form a sail out of them, hoping that we could ride the iceberg to shore.
Try something. I get it.
The sail we made out of our clothes didn't end up working, and it didn't move the iceberg at all. Actually, after an hour, it just blew away in the wind anyway, so we were just left there half naked and freezing. Luckily, a cargo ship came upon us, and they were able to rescue us from the iceberg. But we didn't speak their language, and they didn't speak English, so we
And
couldn't
y'all were
explain to
naked.
them why we were all half naked on an iceberg. They dropped us off in Quebec after a very awkward trip.
Okay. Hey, at least you was in Canada.
I don't know what happened to the other survivors. When we got to Quebec, we all just separated. Hitchhiking back to the United States from Canada was really unpleasant. Everyone only spoke French, and I was still half naked. Luckily, someone did stop, and they had a pickup truck, so they let me sit in the back, and they stopped 20 miles from the New York border, which was great because I only had about a 6-hour walk back to the States.
Which was great. She is so positive thinking. I respect
I
that.
know they say you shouldn't hitchhike because it's dangerous, but the thing is, I've had a lot of luck hitchhiking over the years. The first time that I hitchhiked, I was going from Detroit to Albuquerque, and these 3 really nice dudes in a hippie van picked me up. It turns out they were a traveling folk band, and they taught me how to drive so that I could drive down the highway while they were practicing in the back.
So they
It
use
took a
you.
really long time to get to Albuquerque because they kept having to stop for shows, and we did have to camp in their van every night, but it was still great. You know, I've met my fair share of famous people over the year, but this was really cool because they were real musicians and we got to get pretty close. Also, by the time we got to Albuquerque, I was so good at driving that I passed my driver's test the first time.
Wonderful. Famous people, Mallory?
I met Orville Redenbacher at the airport once. It was
About the
awesome.
only luck
He was
you've
in
had, I
line
know,
trying to get
right?
his luggage, and I thought, should I approach him or should I not? You know, I imagine a famous popcorn magnate like that is probably constantly having groups of people swarming him trying to get his autograph. But anyway, I decided to go for it. So I went up to him and I said, I love your popcorn commercials. And he
Wow.
was really flattered and turned out to be a super nice guy. He
The
even signed
popcorn
my
guy.
cast. Anyway, that was in 1997. I found out later that he had actually died in 1995, so it couldn't have been him, but it was a really nice old man, and it was still a really fond memory.
Oh, Mallory. Oh, Mallory. Oh, Mallory. So you didn't see somebody famous. You saw a doppelganger or a fake. Bless her heart. I know. Bless her heart. Polo
Oh, I
tink
wasn't
tink.
at the airport to catch a flight. Sadly, I've been homeless a few times throughout my life, and one of the tricks that I picked up was that you can go to an airport and pretty easily find a place to sleep. I think they're used to having people who need to find a quiet spot because their flight is delayed or there's a long layover, so it doesn't look too weird if you find a spot and just sleep there. But there is a trick, and that's to not overstay your welcome. So
Hmm.
after 7 or 8 hours, you gotta get out of there. Also, you should never go back to the same airport twice unless a few years have passed.
Oh, damn. Okay.
I found a few creative places to sleep over the years. You just gotta know the tricks.
Lord, Valerie. Mallory. I'm calling you Valerie. Wrong name. All right, places to sleep. Just keep on going with that.
A lot of homeless people will choose gas stations and fast food restaurants to sleep at overnight,
Hmm.
but I think that's actually a really bad idea because they're out in the open and the employees are probably going to have to kick them out. So when I was homeless, I always made sure to find a very hidden spot. So, for instance, I once worked at a fast food restaurant and I noticed that there was a ladder out back. So I climbed it and there was a beautiful roof that I could sleep in. Anyway, I slept there every night that I was working there and just made sure that no one saw me go up and no one saw me come down. So I had my smartphone, thankfully, to set an alarm to make sure that I'd be down in time and also get to work in time. It was working really well for a few months, but then eventually someone did see me go up on the roof. They figured out that I was sleeping there, and I did get fired, but, I can't really blame them.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, true. I mean, eh, maybe you should have told the people you were working with that you were homeless. Somebody could have helped you some type of way. They probably wouldn't let you stay on top of the building, but they would have helped you find somewhere.
I always thought that smartphones were such a waste of money, but honestly, once someone told me about the food delivery services and how much money you can make doing those, I had to get one. And I'm glad I did. It worked really well for a few days when I had my car, but sadly, all those miles really wore it out, and I had to bring it into the shop, and I just couldn't afford the repairs. So I ended up just getting a bus pass, and that was how I was making my food delivery runs. Didn't work quite as well. Actually, sometimes I would have to transfer to multiple buses, so it ended up taking like an hour to deliver something. Eventually, I just kind of stopped doing it. I wasn't making any money.
Hmm. All right, tell me about your cast that you had that somebody signed
I
that
broke my
wasn't
arm at the
famous.
zoo. You know those signs that warn you not to feed the animals?
You fed the
Well, you
animals.
should really pay attention to those. I tripped over one, landed on the sidewalk, and broke my arm. It was okay though because I had an appointment at the hospital later that day anyway, so I just had my doctor fix my arm then.
It was just okay. It was okay though. I had an appointment already set up. He just wrapped it up and fixed it, and there we go. Hey, that is not how it works. You going for a checkup, ma'am. You not go get your broken arm fixed the same day. Well, maybe you do because it is broke, but not by the same doctor.
Oh, I've been to the hospital a lot. I tend to get hurt pretty easily.
Clearly,
I've had so many x
or
rays and
hurt others.
MRIs. I'm surprised I don't have superpowers.
X-rays.
I've broken a few bones over the years. I've been in all kinds of accidents: a hunting accident, a skydiving accident, normal stuff like that.
Normal stuff. Okay, sure. Let's talk about the hunting accident.
I broke my leg hunting. I was sitting in a tree with my friend and we had a few drinks and she told a really funny joke. Anyway,
You
I was
fell off
laughing
the
so
tree.
hard that I lost my balance, and I actually fell out of the tree right on an 8-point buck. They still gave me credit for the kill.
You landed on the deer and killed it. Yeah. Okay. But broke your leg in the process. All right, let's talk about this funny joke first before we even go any further.
A beer walks into a bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and a cola." The bartender asks, "Why the long pause?" The beer shrugs and says, "I don't know, I was born with them."
That's the that's the funny joke, you guys. That's the funny joke. Make sure you laugh for her. She, she needs to write a book. If she don't hurt or injure herself trying to pick up a pencil, I don't know what's going on with Mallory.
When you see people parachuting on TV and in movies, it seems like they're being gently lowered onto the ground like a feather. But I am here to tell you that is not the case. Even with the parachute, you're actually falling really fast, and
Yeah,
impact can be really rough.
kind of figured that.
I found that out the hard way. I was walking around and a skydiver landed right on top of me. Actually broke my arm in 2 places and gave me a concussion.
Did you sue
I never saw the skydiver again, which is too bad because I'll never have a chance to thank them.
to thank them? Why? Why Mallory? Why you want to thank them?
Well, if it weren't for them landing on me, I wouldn't have gotten a concussion, so I wouldn't have gone to the hospital, and they wouldn't have given me an MRI, so I never would have found my brain tumor.
Oh my
They say there's nothing they
goodness!
can do for me, but at least now I know
Oh
I only
my!
have 3 or 4 months left to
Oh
live, so
my!
I can start checking things off my bucket list.
Oh my God, Mallory! My heart, Mallory, my heart. I can't, Mallory. I can't, Mallory. Oh my goodness, you have gone through too much for me. Too much for me. Wow. Oh my God, Mallory. I can't. I just can't. Oh, so she got a brain tumor and oh, jeez, Mallory. I feel bad for you, Mallory. I don't know what to say. All right, let's go to the Get Out squad.
My father and grandfather were both dentists. All the men in my family were. Well,
Yeah,
except for my brother Stephen. It's a family
Steven.
tradition.
He was the bad
Steven's
egg.
quite the rebel. He lives by his own rules.
He's a pediatrician in Salt Lake City. That's clear across the state from us.
He only comes to visit a few times a year, usually on holidays.
We do
Tell
travel up
Ashley
to
get
Salt
that
Lake
girl a
City
stuffed
once in a
animal.
while. My friend Linda lives there too, so we get to visit her and Steven in one trip.
you now that's dark right there, Jen. Ashley will do it though. She'll do it. And then sell it to her mama after she done passed away. Oh my goodness. These people, none of these people deserve this deserve this hotel. I'm gonna tell you that right now. None of these people deserve this hotel. Oh my goodness. All right, let's talk about the gambling.
None of us gamble, but I don't understand why it has such a bad reputation.
I've never gambled before, but I do want to try it when I turn 21 next year.
I've tried it. Gambling isn't really for me, but it seems like an innocent enough pastime.
I've tried it. All right, Linda.
Linda was my best friend back in high school. She was a bit of a
That man
troublemaker
just
back
needs to put an
then.
ad in the paper
To
at
be
this
honest, I was a bit of a rascal myself.
It's true. Alice and Linda were big mischief makers. Now, it may seem hard to believe now, but Alice was quite the prankster in her teenage years.
How come I've never heard about this before?
Well, I am not very proud of some of the things I did, so I don't talk about them much.
Can you tell me about one of them? Please.
Okay. Every April Fool's Day, Linda and I would send someone a pizza they didn't order as a prank. We paid cash, so it couldn't be traced back to us. And we'd also tip the driver so they wouldn't get stiffed in the gratuity.
I hope none of those people were trying to lose weight. That could knock someone off their diet.
We were young and reckless, so we didn't think about the consequences back then.
I understand. I certainly got into my fair share of trouble when I was younger. I've caused as much trouble as anyone. I was once suspended from school for smoking.
For
Another time I
smoking?
got detention for a whole week for cutting class.
To
I'm
give
no
the
angel.
principal a birthday party. Oh my god.
I skipped study hall and snuck into the school gym. The principal caught me and I got a week's detention. It's really not a very interesting story.
It
That's
really
not
isn't.
the whole story, is it? You didn't mention why you went to the gym.
I was helping to set up a surprise party for the principal. His 25th anniversary at our school was coming up, so we had to do something for him. My study hall teacher knew and gave me permission to skip class, but I couldn't say that without ruining the surprise party. Still feel bad about lying to the principal.
Now, honey, lying is sometimes okay when it's to help the person you're lying to, like when we got you your glasses.
I know, Daddy, but it still feels wrong. I was walking to my next class when a kid I didn't know dropped a pack of cigarettes. I instinctively picked them up for him, but just as I did, a teacher happened to see me holding them and sent me to the principal's office. I couldn't say they weren't mine without telling on the other kids, so I got suspended.
It worked out for the best. The kid eventually felt bad that Sarah was taking the blame for him and told the principal what really happened. Then he later became Sarah's first boyfriend.
Okay. So she lied, basically. She said she got suspended for smoking. She never smoked. She just grabbed the fucking cigarettes and got caught with the cigarettes in her hand. All right. So you made it try to sound like you're a bad egg. You're just as bland as the rest of your family, Sarah.
One thing you should never do is stiff a service worker. Tips are most of their income.
I'm ashamed to admit I am guilty of that myself. There was a time where I didn't know you were supposed to tip housekeepers when you stayed at a hotel. I'd been traveling for years before I realized it. I have no idea how many housekeepers I stiffed without realizing it.
A lot of people aren't sure when they're
Without
supposed to tip and
realizing
when they
it.
aren't. It's a big problem.
Well, I don't use a smartphone myself, but I hear one of the big problems these days is people don't know they're supposed to tip app workers.
I thought everyone knew that one.
Yeah, it's weird for you to be a dentist and not use smartphones. Why not? What's wrong with smartphones?
We're a flip phone family.
I love flip phones. They're inexpensive, the battery lasts a full week, and they don't break when you drop them.
You're cheap.
I like knowing Sarah has plenty of charge on her phone in case she needs a ride.
Well, you
You're
know,
also
if I
cheap.
had a smartphone, I wouldn't have to bother you or Daddy when I need a ride. I could just use an app.
She's talking about those rideshare services. I just
We know what
don't
she talking about.
understand those. I mean, when I was growing up, we were taught never to talk to strangers on the internet and not to get into a car with a stranger. But now there's an app that literally lets you summon a stranger on the internet so you can get in their car. I don't understand why they're so popular.
I'm sure there's plenty of useful apps on those things, but everybody that I know that has a smartphone, they just text each other. I prefer having to call someone. It's more of a social interaction for me.
I don't like them. I just do not like these people. I don't like y'all at all. Let's talk about your boyfriend though. The rebel
It's not what
smoker.
it sounds like. A couple of girls at school were playing a prank on this kid, Tommy. He was really unpopular. They pretended he had a secret admirer and started passing him all these fake notes. They were just building up his hopes to crush them. Eventually, so many kids got in on the prank that nobody even knew where it started. I didn't want to see him get hurt, so I pretended I was the admirer and we dated for 2 months. He turned out to be a nice guy, but I was only 17 at the time and nowhere near ready for a boyfriend yet.
Just so nice. So about doing the right thing. Look at these three here. I don't understand. I don't
Sarah
trust
used to
y'all.
babysit a little girl named Emily. She really looked up to Sarah. She always said she wanted to be just like her when
I
she grew
just
up.
look, Jen. I'm
One
telling
day,
you.
Emily had to get glasses, and she looked really cute, but she hated how they looked. She was super self-conscious about it, and she couldn't even stand to go to school anymore.
That's when Sarah came to me and asked if I could get her vision checked. She figured if she wore glasses too, then Emily wouldn't feel so bad about them anymore.
Daddy took me to get tested, but unfortunately my vision was 20/20.
I've never seen somebody so disappointed to have good vision. That's when I took Sarah to the mall to get her a pair of fake glasses.
Daddy's the best. I started wearing them whenever I was around Emily, and it worked like a charm. She started liking her own glasses almost immediately.
I guess.
Sarah's learning to play the piano.
I'm not that good, but I'm trying really hard to get better.
Well, at the rate she's improving, though, she might be a famous musician by this time next year.
She's exaggerating. I wouldn't want to be famous anyway. Piano for me is just like a hobby, like your knitting or Daddy's gardening. When people get famous, they move to a big city so they can make lots of money. Once they've made all that money, they move to the place they really want to live. I already live in the best place I can imagine, so why would I leave in the first place?
In Utah. In Utah.
I like to make sure my family's eating at least some natural organic food.
Everything is so processed these days, and you can really taste the difference when you eat fresh vegetables straight from the garden.
Daddy works really hard on his garden.
I don't consider it work. I enjoy it. Plus, it gives me a chance to spend time outside.
Adults are weird. They can do anything they want, but if they want to, I don't know, play in the yard, they won't do it unless they find an excuse.
I love Sarah's outlook on life. I do crocheting and knitting. I make clothes and blankets that I donate to local homeless shelters.
We used to just donate money, but there are just too many people in need. There's never enough money to go around, and winters get very cold in Utah.
And since we're able to buy fabric in bulk, we're able to donate 5 or 6 times as many supplies as we could otherwise.
The hats she makes are really nice too. They're so much more comfortable than anything you can buy at a store.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Okay, about the rock concert.
We've never been to a rock concert. We really should go sometime, though.
They've never been to a rock
wasn't
concert.
the biggest fan of rock music for the longest time, but it was Sarah that convinced him to give it a try.
All the rock music I heard growing up just seemed so edgy. I figured it wasn't for me.
Daddy just hadn't listened to the right bands.
That's true, because I wasn't the biggest fan of rock music either, when all I ever heard were wild groups like the Beatles and Billy Joel. If Sarah hadn't shown me that there
Wild
were
groups.
rowdy bands out there, I'd probably still be missing out.
It is amazing how much Sarah's changed our lives. Our trips to Salt Lake City are one of the few things we have trouble agreeing on. There's just so much to do, and everybody wants to do something different.
I like to go to the zoo, Sarah likes the planetarium, and Walter likes the Natural History Museum.
We started playing a board game right before our trip. The winner gets to pick where we go.
Sarah usually wins, but she's very gracious when she does. Last time she won, she picked the zoo to make Alice happy.
I won twice in a row. I would have felt selfish if I picked the planetarium both times. Plus, we hadn't gone to the zoo in forever. It wouldn't have been fair.
Isn't she just the best?
Isn't she just the best? Lord, this goodly family.
We all love doing charity work, but to be honest, Alice and I don't find nearly as much time as we should. Sarah, on the other hand, always finds the time.
She volunteers every week at an assisted living facility, a food bank, and an animal shelter. I wish I had her youthful energy.
Thank you. They're just being modest. They both do plenty.
When I was younger, I did what I could. Now all I really do is make the occasional donation.
What about when we went to the beach last summer?
That's true. We spent the day cleaning the beach, and we had a contest among ourselves to see who could collect the most trash bags worth of litter.
Daddy won by a full bag.
It doesn't matter who fills the most bags. What matters is doing our part for the environment.
Every piece of litter you pick up off the beach is one less piece that'll make it into the ocean. That's what Daddy always says.
Oh, that comes straight from a freaking commercial. Like, come on now.
I've been helping out at the shelter for over a year now. I love working with the animals.
We used to be part of the neighborhood pet patrol.
Whenever anyone in our town lost a pet, we'd post flyers and work the phones until that family had their missing member back.
Don't let Ashley see those flyers.
We used to be part of the pet patrol, but it's handled online now. I hear it's very efficient, but we don't have the internet in our house, so we're not part of it anymore.
They don't have the internet in their house anymore. Okay. Don't use the internet?
I know people who have internet in their homes, and it does seem pretty useful, but there is a lot of bad stuff online.
I've been online, and there's a lot of good stuff on there too.
I'm sure it has its uses. It's just too easy to stumble across unpleasant language or other bad things. I just don't want it in my home.
Walter's dental practice does have its own website. People can book appointments online.
My secretary Janet runs the site for me. We have
So,
internet at the office, and she is great at using it.
so you don't
She
even
spends some of
use
her
the internet.
downtime on a website called the TikTok.
The TikTok.
Never heard of that one. What is it for?
Honestly, I have no idea. Janet has showed it to me multiple
Get
times, and I just
get
can't wrap my head around it.
get these people off my screen. Please get these people off of my screen right now. I can't deal with them. I can't deal with them. Their foolishness. The TikTok.
I love volunteering there.
Some of Sarah's best friends
Get
are
off my
residents
couch
there.
She's
right.
talking
Go
about Harold
home.
and Eleanor.
Go
I've
home,
learned
go
so much
home, go
from
home.
They love having her there too. They tell me all the time.
Walter and I thought we did our fair share of volunteering, but Sarah puts us to shame.
It really shouldn't count as work if it's fun to do.
Who's all these people? Eleanor?
Eleanor was a phone operator for most of her life. From what she says, there was a time when operators had to manually make phone calls go through. I can't even wrap my head around that.
I've known Eleanor for years. She organized the town's first bake sale, and she always had the best Christmas decorations every year when I was growing up.
Our town gets very into Christmas lights. Walking around and looking at all the decorated houses, it's a tradition for us.
I prefer driving around. It's a lot warmer.
Can't disagree with that. Sarah and I don't like the cold weather as much as Walter does.
Oh, I've always loved the winter. Playing outside in the snow is one of my favorite things growing up. I've made more than my fair share of snowmen.
I'm more of a summer girl.
Me too.
So they would love being in Vegas, huh? Staying in Vegas. First bake sale.
When I was little, a tornado hit our town. 2 families lost their homes.
Oh my gosh.
Language, honey.
Sorry, Daddy.
Eleanor
Language.
hosted a bake sale to
Oh
raise
my
money
gosh.
for those families.
The bake sale turned into an annual event. They raise money for a new cause every year.
It's a really big deal. Everyone in town goes.
Alice actually runs the bake sale now. She took over for Eleanor when she retired.
Okay.
Sarah used to only volunteer there once a month. She wanted to work more, but they didn't need the help.
True, but when Sarah wants something, she finds a way to make it happen.
While working there, I learned that a lot of the local homeless people were illiterate.
She talked them into letting her use their facility to hold a literacy class once a week.
It's every Friday night from 6 to 9. There wasn't a lot of attendance at first, but it's a pretty full class now. And I've made some good friends there too.
It's the one night a week that I let Sarah stay out until 9:30 now. I don't want her coming home that late, but she's really making a difference in people's lives.
I just don't believe you. I don't believe y'all are these people.
Harold is the friendliest person you'll ever meet. He can go on for hours about the past.
He used to own the hardware store in town when I was a kid. They had a toy section that was only a few feet wide, but it felt like a full toy store to us kids.
You know, the way you're going on about the past makes you sound a little like Harold.
Well, I don't think I'm quite the storyteller Harold is. He really likes to go into detail.
That's true. He once told me a story about toilet paper that lasted for 20 minutes. It was a good story.
We've all heard that one. Harold likes to go on and on about how toilet paper rolls have gotten smaller and smaller over the years. So now you have to buy a 12-pack of toilet paper just to get the same amount of toilet paper that used to come in
I've
a
heard that
4-pack.
story.
I mean, he has a point. I mean, if they still made them like they used to, my grocery trips would be a lot easier.
All right, got the secretary.
I've known Janet for years. She's in my book club.
I play golf with her husband Frank. They're good people.
Frank and Janet invited us up to their fishing cabin this weekend, but we had to turn them down.
We didn't want to be rude by declining, but fishing really isn't our cup of tea.
I just don't see how snatching another life form from their home could be fun. What did those poor fishies ever do to us?
Oh Lord. So y'all are vegans as well, I'm guessing.
Walter likes the winter, but you will not catch me outside if there's snow on the ground.
We've never helped Daddy shovel snow once. We just stay inside with the heat cranked up.
Believe me, they more than make up for it in the summertime. I can't remember the last time I watered the lawn.
We do love finding excuses to work outside during the summer.
I'm starting a charity car wash. I already have a bunch of other girls signed up. We're starting on Memorial Day.
I love the car wash idea. There are always plenty of worthy charities that need the money.
Plus, it's a lot of fun. It's like getting to go to a water park for free.
Is it like going over to a water park for free? Washing cars?
I love water parks. One of my favorite things about living in Utah is that we have so many of them.
I'm a bit of a water slide enthusiast myself.
I'm not really into the water slides. My favorite part is the lazy river.
I think Sarah's favorite part is all the attention she gets from boys when she gets to wear her bathing suit.
Is
That's
that
nice
right,
too,
Sarah?
but I've always loved water parks. My parents used to take me all the time when I was growing up.
My favorite ride is the one where you have to cross a bunch of lily pads while holding on to the rope.
Walter always makes it across, though. I mean, that defeats the purpose. You're supposed to fall in. What's the point of going to a water park if you're not going to get wet?
I like the challenge. It's hard to get across. Plus, my feet get wet.
I don't think he gets it.
All right, Sarah's parents.
My mom and dad live just a few blocks away from us, so I get to see them all the time.
Oh, did you think Sarah was our daughter? We get that a lot.
I just don't understand why so many people think we're related. I don't see the resemblance.
Yeah, Sarah and I aren't related, but we are married to the same daddy.
We met Sarah when she was 18 and fell in love right away. She became my second wife 6 months later.
Well, I could never live up to his first wife, though. Alice is amazing.
Oh, Sarah's just being modest. She is an incredible wife.
She's a crackerjack in the bedroom as well.
That's just because I had such a great teacher.
Oh, well, Sarah's the real teacher. Did you know that you could use your feet in the bedroom? We had never heard of such a thing, but Sarah showed us, and now, by golly, Walter can't get enough of it.
And don't forget the thing you do that Alice likes. I have no idea how she comes up with these things.
Well, I didn't invent them. I learned them on the internet.
Oh, the internet doesn't seem that bad. Maybe we should think about getting a computer.
Can we, Daddy, please?
Holy shit. This game. Holy shit. Get off my couch and go home. Oh, holy shit. Like I said, you should speak with someone else. Yes, you should. Oh my. Ay caramba. Right? Ay caramba. Oh. I'm crying. Me too. Me. Did you see the looks on my face? I was like, wait. Wait. Oh my God. That was too much. Oh my gosh. I am. That was a great twist. I don't even know what to say. Perk, if you're watching this at any point, I need your response. Just message me anytime that if you happen to see up to this point of this video. I need to know your thoughts. Oh my God. Okay, we're moving on. Moving on to Becca and Todd. That'll last. Oh, I knew they were some freaks. We knew something was up, Jen. I just didn't. I did not expect that. I knew something was up. That's their daddy. Their daddy, not just her daddy. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Whoo. Anyway, Becca and Todd. Let's talk about. Oh, oh my goodness.
Todd's family is very religious, very devout.
Oh, I'm not as devout as the rest of them.
Oh, no, you're just being modest. He's the only boyfriend I've ever had who insisted on keeping his virginity until we get married. I mean,
Okay.
how impressive is that?
Okay. I still not. Well, look, I don't even know if I'm ready for y'all right now, Becca and Todd. Still, right now, I don't know if I'm ready for what y'all got to show or tell me, because I'm still trying to deal with the Sarah Goodley family. Oh, okay. Let me get my bearings together. Whew. Okay. Tell me about Michael Kennedy.
My father doesn't really like Todd.
Okay.
Oh, maybe at first, but I think we get along better now.
Todd really wants to impress my dad. That's actually part of the reason why we're having this budget wedding. I'm sure Daddy would have paid for a big wedding if I asked, but Todd wants to prove to him that we're self-sufficient.
And we are.
Hmm. That didn't sound very confident right there. All right. Tell me about Barbara, your mom's.
You know, my parents didn't get married until years after they'd already been legal partners. At that point, my mom had already a long list of clients, a really great reputation, so that's why she kept her own last name.
Yeah, plus, they would have had to change the name of the law firm. I mean, they had to print new business cards, order new signs, it would have been a big hassle, right?
That's why I'm keeping my last name. So if everything goes according to plan right before my dad retires, I will get made partner at the firm. That way there will still be a Kennedy in the name. Also, Becca Boner just doesn't really have a great ring to it for a lawyer.
I agree. All right, let's talk about him keeping his virginity till he gets married.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's kind of a big deal. I've had to go over a year without it.
Oh,
So
we've been together for 2 years, dear.
Oh.
I checked someone off my list
Oh.
last year. We promised we wouldn't have to tell each other that. The baseball player.
The baseball player. Hmm. Hmm. Supposed to have been 2 years. There's only one. Okay. Let's keep on going. The list.
You know that list every couple makes of people they're allowed to sleep with if they ever get the chance to without it being considered cheating.
Yeah, which isn't really fair because I don't sleep with anyone and she knows that.
Well, I've been trying to change that for the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get into heaven, so.
Really? Well, I've been trying to get him into heaven for the last 2 years with no luck.
Well, aren't you supposed to be only putting famous people on your list who you don't know?
Well, I didn't know him when I made the list. I just so happened to meet him a year later.
Just so happened.
Besides, Todd put my sister on his list.
That was meant as a compliment alone, okay? She knows that I would
compliment.
never sleep with anyone besides Becca.
Yeah, my sister did not take it as a compliment, and she's still kind of mad about it.
Okay. Let's continue. Let's go deep in. Let's talk about your sister.
My little sister Rachel, she's so competitive. It's kind of annoying. So I was kind of a prodigy in middle school, so I skipped a grade, and then she skipped 2 grades, and then I graduated 5th in my class at Harvard. So she graduated 4th. It's like her only goal in life is to be just marginally better than me at everything she does.
The two of them have been at it since they were very young. Everything is a competition between them.
Yeah, competition, I rarely win. But luckily, she did not go into the legal field. She took the easy route medicine. I'm kidding. No, if she had joined the family firm, I'm sure she would have been made partner 2 years before me, despite being 2 years younger. But it's fine.
You sound jealous. You sound bitter. All right. Let's talk about him. You keeping your last name, Becca.
Doesn't bother me. If she wants to keep her own last name to help her career, I'm in full support.
Todd's actually thinking about taking my last name. That way, if we ever adopt children, we won't have to explain why we have different last names.
Okay. So y'all have had the conversation about children. Adopt?
Oh yeah, Becca here loves the idea of adopting children.
Also, we can't really have children of our own because Todd's been sterile ever since his motorcycle accident.
Oh, at least my accident was cool.
Sterile. But he's a virgin, right?
His friend Greg jumped over a bunch of people on his motorcycle trying to make a viral video. So Todd and all these guys, they were laid down head to toe leading up to the ramp. And Greg almost made it, but his back tire came down right between Todd's legs.
We don't need to describe every detail.
Oh, right. I actually have it on video if you want me to send it to you.
That's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but quite interesting. I know she was about to throw him under the bus all the time. She's always throwing him under the bus. All right, let's talk about Greg.
Yeah, Greg is my best friend. He's a great guy. He's a guitar player.
No, he's hilarious. He does this bit every time I see him where he tries to convince me to dump Todd and go out with him instead. It's so funny.
It's funny.
It sounds a little mean, but it's obviously a joke. He does it right in
Is
front of
it?
Todd.
Oh.
I promise you, it's very funny.
Does it right in front of Todd.
Maybe you have to be there.
It's not that funny.
No.
Yeah, it's
Very
not that funny. See that? Oh. He's your best friend, though, you say. This is not good for y'all. This is I foresee not a good ending for y'all right now, just based off of everything I'm being told. All right, tell me about the guitar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Greg is in a band. They're always trying to get me to join.
It's a Kiss tribute band called Hug with 2 Gs. Their
sorry.
whole gimmick is that they only play acoustic versions of Kiss songs.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the reason why I'm not going to join.
That and Todd only plays the calliope. That's that steam organ they use in the circus, you know. Kiss only uses it in one song, so I don't really see why Todd would have to join.
Not the do 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 little do do do. She is always downing him for everything he can do, but try to be so nice with it.
We had one in our house when we were growing up, and I actually didn't have any interest in playing it, but I learned it because it was there. So.
He's kind of shy about performing in front of other people. I totally used to be the same way when performing gymnastics in front of an audience, so I totally get it.
She did
He
gymnastics.
promising he'll play it for me, but he never does.
I promised her that I would play it for her birthday, and I will.
My birthday was 3 days ago.
I meant next year.
Ha!
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Y'all are not gonna make it to next year. Y'all are putting a lot of hopium in that. Y'all are not gonna make it to next year. She just would not let this man be great. Right. All right. Famous.
I used to date this famous singer. I'm not going to name drop because that's gauche, but you definitely know who he is.
A lot of women have been with musicians, and to be honest with you, we all know that musicians are not one-woman men.
It was actually pretty serious between us. I mean, he asked me to move in with him. I met his parents. It was kind of the real deal.
Oh, well,
How
I guess
was
he was
it?
a good one, but I feel bad for her because he broke up with her.
Actually, I never told Todd this, but I was still with the singer when I met him. I didn't break up with the singer until we became official. It's crazy to think, if I hadn't met Todd when I did, I totally could have been married to the wrong person right now.
So, you cheated on him with me.
So I never told you this.
Okay. Maybe y'all should have, got to know each other a little bit more before getting married. Seems like y'all don't know a whole lot about each other. Let's talk about these high-profile clients anyway.
Our firm represents a number of well-known clientele. I'm not really at liberty to name names, but there's a few athletes and politicians who you might have heard of.
You know, I was actually an athlete. I was the star player on my high school football team. And I would have gone pro. Everyone would know my name, but I had a knee injury, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at him. He would have totally made the NFL had it not been for the injury. I mean, once he kicked a 20-yard field goal in a high school game, that is extremely unheard of from what I understand. I almost went pro in gymnastics, but that didn't work out for me either.
Okay, tell us about your gymnastics stunt then.
When I was very little, I trained under the famous Italian gymnastics coach, Sergio Endolini. My parents were convinced I was going to make it to the Olympics. I had the leotards
Stop.
and...
That's enough.
Uh-oh.
Sergio Andolini isn't a real person, all right? We're not married. The only reason I said we were married is because I wanted to get a free room upgrade at the hotel.
As you can tell, he's a cheapskate.
Well, as you can tell, she is a hooker.
Okay, I'm not a hooker. I am a sex worker.
Oh, so
and we
sorry.
didn't even have sex because you were busy crying the whole time.
Not
So-
true, not true, not true.
No, it is kind of true. The only reason I'm still sitting next to this person is because I wanted to be paid for this book, so. And now you've ruined it, so thank you.
I ruined it.
Yeah, you
You're
did.
the one who made me look like a complete loser.
He kind of is.
Oh,
You know
damn.
what? I don't even. I'm sorry for wasting your time. Goodbye.
Can I still get paid?
Wow. Wow. I felt like something was up between them. And okay. Well, there's that. And poor Mr. Davenport. We got to give you an answer. Is that what we got to do now? All right. So is this the choice that we make now? All right. So let's see. Ashley's retiring. She wants nothing to do with Las Vegas. Clearly, Ashley would have been the best candidate to run the place, but she doesn't like being in Las Vegas. Mallory has an untreatable brain tumor. She's dying. She only has a year or two left. In that year or two, though, she will burn this company to the ground because she cannot hold a job for shit. So I don't know what to say about Mallory. Sarah isn't Walter's daughter. She's his wife. So is Alice. Freaks. Still good people, though. Still tend to be good people, though. How old is Sarah? I'm still kind of wondering about that. She's not 21 because they said she couldn't gamble. So that might be a issue. Okay. And Becca and Todd aren't on their honeymoon. They lied to get a room upgrade. What do you even say? What do you even say? Boy, do we have a choice. So she's retiring. She doesn't care. She's not gonna. We're gonna ask her to take it, and she's probably gonna not take it. Mallory would probably happily take it, but then she would have to find another successor in a year or so. So what's the point? They might turn this hotel into a place that many may not want to come to. I don't know what to say about the Sarah family and Becca and Todd. Now we can still possibly give Todd, let him run the place. He's a hard worker, maybe not the best worker, but I don't know what to say about Becca. Shit, I don't know. You know what? It's funny enough. It's between the swingers, not the swingers. What are they? What is it? It is a poly poly. Just call it poly. Poly group. Poly relationship here, and Becca and Todd. It's either between these two, for my opinion. And sadly enough, bro, I don't know who's the best. They just got annoyed with each other. But see, no, they get along so well. It gotta be them, right? Can you just take the job? I know, right, Jen? You know what? We're gonna give it to the Poly group. They, funny enough, they were the best candidates out of these, which is not saying a whole lot. Give it to them.
Well, I did not see that coming. I only considered Sarah because
Oh, I'm
she seemed
telling
like
him all
such
the
a
ish.
sweet, wholesome girl. I had no
Sweet and
idea she
wholesome,
was married
maybe.
to an older man who already had a wife.
Yeah, this is.
I don't know what to think about that.
Oh, okay. So we just get to tell him everything that we found out. All right, Ashley's retiring. She wants nothing to do with Las Vegas.
Well, that's surprising. I would have thought she'd be more emotionally invested in the Bellflower after running her magic act here for so long.
Try to turn
Guess I
that place
must have
into a
misjudged
cold
her.
headquarters. All right, Mallory has an untreatable brain tumor. She's dying. She only has a year or two left.
That poor woman never catches a break, does she?
She
I
doesn't.
don't suppose it would be logical to leave a hotel to someone who's not going to be alive much longer than I am.
Exactly. And Becca and Todd aren't on their honeymoon. They lied to get a room upgrade.
Well, that's disappointing. I guess there's no reason to consider them as potential heirs anymore.
Duh. What are you going to do with the hotel, Mr. Davenport?
All four candidates have potential problems, but
Potential.
someone has to take over the hotel. I don't have any more potential heirs, and I've run out of time to keep searching. Now, you've spoken to all of them.
Oh,
Who do you
want me
recommend?
I knew he wanted me to choose. Of course you want me to choose. Well, I already said, as much as I hate it, it's going to have to be the Goodleys, man. It's going to have to be the Goodleys. Uh, unless we want to give it to the sex worker and the guy who got his stuff smashed by a bike tire. Eh, okay, well, I mean, Becca and Todd. If we still wanted to give it to Becca and Todd, we could. It's between these two. I don't know. I must just say we said Sarah. I said Sarah at the beginning. I'm gonna stick with Sarah. We'll give it to Sarah.
The only reason I was considering Sarah was because she seemed so virtuous.
Well, she
Now
is.
that
She's
I
just
know
a
she's in
freak.
a three-person marriage with two older partners, I see no reason to choose her.
Okay, he don't want to choose her. Polygamy isn't that really that immoral by Las Vegas standards. That's very true. She's not perfect, but no one is. She's still pretty, probably the most wholesome person who've ever lived. I mean, those are true. I still don't. That reveal was amazing. I don't know. Yeah.
You make a good point. I may disagree with one of her life choices, but I doubt I could find a more caring person with strong moral values anywhere. Did you know that she spends her Friday nights teaching the homeless how to read?
Yeah, I heard
I
about
didn't
that.
know that illiteracy was an issue among the homeless, but she's actively doing something about it. She's the obvious choice. Would you like to tell her? You deserve to be the one who breaks the good news.
Family values. We got a trophy. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me again. Let's talk to him.
It's no problem at all. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Is there anything else we can do to help you with your book?
There is no book. Mr. Davenport is dying. He asked me to interview select people he was considering leaving his resort to in his will. The book was just a cover.
Is there
Oh,
anything
that's
we can do to help him?
awful.
Mr. Davenport has finished his will. He doesn't have any family or close personal friends. As such, he has decided to leave his entire resort and casino to you, Sarah.
He has no family and no close friends? That's awful. We'll be here for him, right?
Well, I have to be to work on Tuesday. Why don't you stay here and keep him company, and I'll come back after work on Friday.
I'll stay too.
The animal shelter and the food bank can get by without me for a while, but someone has to teach my literacy group on Friday. Can you do it?
Oh, I can handle that. Why don't you two stay here, and I'll come back next weekend. The more people hear for him, the better.
All right, thanks, Daddy.
I still
Where is
don't.
Mr. Davenport
I still
now?
don't trust
Can
him,
we
to
see
be
him?
honest, though. I still don't trust him. He's here at the hotel in Presidential Suite. No, I'm good. I still don't trust him, Jed. I don't know why I chose these freaking fools.
What do you say we go try to cheer him up?
Absolutely.
Then they take the knife to his back. Sarah and her family stayed with Mr. Davenport until the very end. They brought a second home in Las Vegas so Sarah could run the Bellflower as per his wishes. They dedicated one floor of the hotel as housing to the homeless full time, and Sarah uses one of the meeting rooms to teach literary every Saturday mornings to anyone who attends. Hmm. Huh. Look. This game was a pleasant surprise just from how wild
Okay,
these.
let's start with our first word. All right, can we sound it out?
K.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
T.
Okay, now let's try putting some letters together.
Huh. This game, I tell you. Look, please, y'all, please express yourself by hitting that like button if you're not done so already. Make sure I do it myself. It took us 3 videos in a span of 2 to 3 hours, but we got it done. We had to, ran into a few little bugs, but like I said, other than the bugs, this game was a very pleasant surprise just because of how wild and undeserving all of these candidates were to own this man's casino and hotel. Like they could have gave it to anybody else, but I guess we chose the best of the group. Sarah, she's bringing the homeless into the hotels now, which may not be a good thing, especially in Las Vegas. But she's teaching them, and they made a memorial spot for the guy. They stayed with him till the end. What more could you ask for, right? What more could you ask for? Well, guys, gals, we'll call it. Tried to warn you. The game even get to that. Want to get to that part? I know, right? It tried to warn. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, look, we may come back to this at some point because I need to see what some other endings of this game is. Uh, but yeah, I hope y'all enjoy. Like I said, make sure you express yourself by hitting the like button, hit that follow button if you're not done so already, and subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell to know every time I go live. Try to do this every week or every other week. So next time we'll probably be jumping into something new. Don't know what it is yet, but it's um, Black History Month, Valentine's Day. We could probably do something in those themes. Hopefully, I can find something to play in those themes. But until then, I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed. See you later. Love ya. Bye bye. Ba-dum, ba-dum, dum. I like the music they play on here. Jen, my friend, appreciate you for coming in. Had to do all that rhyming. Perk, my boy, appreciate you coming through. Ray, Kincaid, as always, appreciate you coming through. Big birthday boy. And Doc, as always, my friend, appreciate you coming through. Everybody else decided to come through. Love y'all. See ya. Also, I forgot to just didn't mention this, but video coming soon. Last yesterday I got to fight in Mortal Kombat 1 and finally find the little secret fight that they got for Floyd. Floyd is a pink ninja. Be expecting that video to come out at some point, hopefully soon, because I got to edit it and everything. But I was so proud of that I did that yesterday. Hopefully I'll see it in rotation in a few weeks or so, or in a week or so. I don't know. I'm still editing videos. I'm trying to get some more videos edited so I can start back putting out those videos at a constant pace. But we'll see how that goes. Anyway, just rambling now. See y'all later. Peace out.